What's up, wizard folk? It is Dev from the place, along with our very good friend PowrDragn. How you feeling today, Dragon?
We had some hits and misses this go round with Final Fantasy, but I think for overrated cards, we hit way more than we missed. So we did pretty well in this group.
Yeah, I think we're at about like 70% on this. You know, there's a couple that I don't mind admitting missing, but for the most part, I think we did a good job on the batch. So yeah, man, not bad at all. And you guys know what this is all about. So let's go ahead and jump in and review how well we did on these overrated cards. Are we the spikes that we want to be, or should we lighten up a little bit? Now, the first pick, I suppose, was my pick because I've got it labeled D. So I guess the first pick was Absolute Virtue this time around. The giant Azorius man that like you can't take damage or something. You have protection from everything or something like that as long as it's in play. I have not played against this card even a single time.
Not once.
Yep. Sorry. Hasn't been reanimated against me. Hasn't been the control finisher against me. I have seen absolutely none of Absolute Virtue. So.
You know, here's the thing, though, and I think we mentioned this at the time of like, while it's big and it's really cool, it kind of only does something against red and green, right? Because the other colors are just going to bounce it, remove it, make you sacrifice it, whatever. But then it also doesn't do anything. Like if I was going to reanimate something, am I going to reanimate this? Or at the time, we still had like Atraxa and Valgavoth and Atali. Yeah. The list is huge, right? Of all the things we could get. Hell, Bahamut or whatever, right? Like
yeah.
Like things that do stuff or have some significant ability when they come on the battlefield. Like that just doesn't. That's it.
It doesn't do jack. So, yeah, this is one of those lessons where it's like, well, you know, what else do you have access to? And in this case, I mean, there's probably some fun tricks with it. And I honestly wouldn't put it past seeing some play at some point, but we'd have to be pretty hard up for options. We're about to lose some good ones, but we're still going to have some really good reanimator options. And as far as even like ramping into a huge guy, I still don't think this is basically ever going to be it in standard. So,
yeah, I will say this too. I think it's somewhat about the format as well, right? When it was so fast for so long, that card just never had a chance.
Yeah.
Right? It wasn't this card you wanted to spend a slot on because you were worried about stuff to deal with the early game, and then you needed a hugely impactful stabilizing card when you finally got it. And this just wasn't. You wanted something to gain life, or you wanted like Biza that was making tokens and doing stuff. Like you wanted all these other cards. You didn't want that.
And you want to be cheap. Like even in a blue-white control deck, you have Biza and Overlord of the Mistmoors and all of this stuff. They are just better for the most part, and much more efficient, cheaper threats that actually play into a normal curve. You know what I mean? Like, even if this is just a one of in like a blue-white control deck, it's like, well, you draw it in the early game and it's just a dead slot in your hand, and control doesn't want that. So I don't really see a spot for it unless there's something specifically weird that it ends up doing, but even I don't see it personally.
But, yeah, we're not missing much on that one. I'm giving us a very strong A++ because it's shown up practically 0 times.
Yeah, way too many people are freaking out about this one. But control players sometimes, you know what I mean? Like they see a shiny new toy and they're like, oh, like even control players are susceptible to that. And I think Virtue is proof of it. But do you have your first pick on hand?
I'm pretty sure mine was Traveling Chocobo.
That's what I've got.
And I will say this, even at the time, I think we said, we know it's still going to be good and playable, but not the like A tier, whatever it is. However, we're in a tough spot because I think this card, while it doesn't get a lot of play in as many decks as we thought, the one deck it's in is really good in.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah, Mono Green Landfall. Yeah, part of me wants to kind of rib my buddy here and be like, answer for this, explain yourself. But like, the way you put it, if you watch the video back, is basically what you've just said there. Like, it's going to be good, but it's not going to be this world-ending thing. And I think a lot of people had a lot of different ideas with this. We're going to play it with Lumra and Aftermath Analyst and Iridescent Vine Lasher and build the Landfall deck, and just none of those really came to fruition. The best Landfall deck is the mono green one, and it's kind of the only Landfall deck at time of writing, at the very least. So Traveling Chocobo could end up in like a weird Teamer Landfall pile, I guess. But for right now, it's only ended up in the one thing. So that supports your point, ultimately.
Yeah, I think... And myself at points too, I remember going, okay, it's not quite Courser of Crewfix because it doesn't have the life gain, but you know, getting to play an extra land, and is it kind of like Oscar or whatever, where you get to play an extra land off top of library, play an additional land. Like, is it doing
Azusa?
I don't know why I said Oscar, but
Oscar, like WWE Oscar.
Yeah, exactly.
For a second, I was like, wait a minute. But yeah, anyway.
But
sorry,
it's not really playing that role for enough decks right now. Is the issue? Like, it's in, like we said, it's in the one deck where it's stellar when they get it in that deck. But the only other deck I've played it in, which I had a good run with, was a Selesnya Landfall deck. But you're really only talking about one solidified deck in one kind of brew.
Yeah, we were talking about this before we hit record. Like, I've got a couple of these, especially in the underrated POW, where like we did a great brew on stream, but like it doesn't really count. You know what I mean? Like, but Traveling Chocobo is good enough in that mono green landfall deck that it's like a half of a miss. Yeah,
if I'm giving a grade, I'm giving myself a B- on that one.
Okay, fair enough.
The card still showed up. Got to give it love for the one deck it's in, but definitely didn't meet the hype standards that people were giving it.
Well, last thing I'll say about this, I think it might actually get better once Cut Down leaves the format, and we don't have so many efficient ways to really deal with it. So, it's got that going for it in the near future.
All right. Next up, I think you had Hope S time.
I did have Hope S time. I did have some hope that this card would be fine in like Commander. I actually have played this card in Commander a couple of times now. I've got a really crappy Hope S-Time build that nonetheless does wild things. I sacrifice all my lands to Zurin Orb, gain 28 life. Everybody milled. It's crazy. So like I've had some fun in that in that format with Hope, and I basically said that's how that would go down. Like this is a Commander, but not a standard card. And I saw a lot of people kind of happy about the juxtaposition, the putting together and making kissing of life gain and mill, and we're seeing more of that in Edge of Eternities. We just got another life gain mill card, so I kind of hope they keep running with this theme of mashing these two mechanics together. I think it's really cool. There might be a deck there one day, but if there even is a life gain mill deck one day, I don't think it's going to be a Hope S-Time deck, in standard at least. So I didn't really see this thing taken off in standard, and barring some wild happenings in the near future, I don't think that it will anytime soon.
Yeah, I've played one deck this last season that had it, that it was good in, and it was basically a raise the past, hope, get the life gain triggers deck, try to mill your opponent out.
Yeah, I could see that.
Right?
Yeah.
It's literally the one deck. Like, there's nothing, and it was reasonable. I mean, I won a fair amount of games with it, but it's one. Like for all the hype, that's it.
Really, it's kind of really exciting. So, like, I hadn't even like tried that yet. I'm still on Raise the Pass with like Ellis Ilcore, Starscape Cleric and stuff, and like Ellis is about to rotate, and I keep thinking like, what's that deck going to do? And it's like Hope makes a lot of sense in that deck. So you gave me something to do.
Yeah, I'll show you the deck list later. It's actually
I'm into that.
But for Hope, I'm going to give us a solid A- on that one.
Oh, yeah. This
while there was a deck for it, it wasn't the hyped up world beater. This is going to make mill playable card that everybody thought it was.
Yeah. And even though it might look strong coming up to give mill a chance in the new format, like we lose Jace, like we lose really good mill pieces. So coming up, I think Hope actually gets a little bit more, even more kneecapped than it was going into the next format. So we'll see how it ends up. But I think you did a great job on your next pick. What was that?
Yeah, Ragnarok. Zero appearances of that card. Like, none. To the point, I was considering even recently just making a video just saying, like, I'm going to tank my rank to see how long it takes for me to make Ragnarok.
Yeah, just to do it. I don't even have to win. Just do the thing,
Yeah, that's literally where I was at, because I was like, everybody was hyped about, oh, we finally have a meld card again, and it's on some uncommon, so it should be easy to get and whatever. And I think the problem for me, and I think I said this at the time, even the card it turns into isn't as good as some of the other stuff we were getting that melded together.
Yeah, man. The card it melds into isn't as good as some of the stuff you can just like reanimate.
Yeah. And like on top of that, you have to keep the cards on the battlefield for a turn, because then you have to pay the 4, I think, like during your upkeep or something or whatever. So it's just like,
you can still get blown out if you like while you're paying the 4, I think. So
yeah, there's just so many hurdles to get to it that it's such a difficult situation to make happen. And again, for 3/4 of this last season, it was a super fast format, right? So
yeah.
It's not like you had time to set up with a random 2/3 creature, to be able to buy time or whatever.
Right.
So,
even when the bans happened and we started seeing more mid-range, specifically more Golgari decks, you didn't see these people Fang and Vanille. I still think that like there's an argument for Fang in like black commander decks or whatever, but like for the most part, this didn't happen. It probably won't. Even after rotation, green black keeps most of its decent pieces apart from the removal. So I just don't see them stooping to this level. Honestly, so
yeah,
I give you an A+, an S tier, honestly, on that one.
Yeah, again, I've literally played against it 0 times.
Yep. Not never.
Yep.
But my next pick here was another one I've never played against. It's Summoner's Grimoire. Now, I think you're actually in the lab more than me because you put out a deck like every single day you're playing Arena. So have you played against this card or with this card for that matter?
I believe I've seen it across the table twice and it was not very effective. And if I did play it, it wasn't more than once. Like, it's fine for what it is, but it's not as easy to use even as Kona, right? Because Kona, I can just
right
tap to a bunch of other things, just put a thing into play, right? If I'm playing something like, I don't know, Smuggler's Surprise, I don't necessarily want this card in the deck, right? I'm not trying to attack with my things. I'm trying to ramp up so I can do the big thing. Yep. So it just doesn't feel quite the correct role, I think, for what we want. But it's a cool card. It looks neat. It has the right words, but it just doesn't check enough boxes, I don't think.
Hey, there's like one of these in every set now. Like we just got like a spacecraft that kind of does this in Edge of Eternities. You get it charged up, and when it attacks, you drop a guy. We got Kona, like you mentioned. I think Kona's a much better version of this effect, and honestly, you got to beat Smuggler's Surprise in this format. You brought those cards up too, but Smuggler's Surprise, I think, is just the best version of this, even though it costs a couple extra mana. This is a lot of setup, and it's just at the end of the day, now that I think about it, my chat might remind me that I think we did play against this literally one time in the arena, and we were just like, oh, so Summoner's Grimoire, let's see what that does. And it like didn't. It didn't do anything. So, I feel bad for the card because it's cool. I like an Elvish Piper effect or whatever, But this just really ain't it, Chief. And I'm starting to be like disenchanted with effects like this, or I'm just like, every time I see them, I'm like, okay, you're probably bad. And this one didn't impress me ultimately.
Yeah, so I think that one's another one to solid A.
Yeah. But moving from a solid A to I'm going to let you grade yourself at the end of this. What was your next pick?
Mine was Dark Confidant.
It was.
And this is another one where we said, we know people are going to play it, but not to the hype level that people were excited about. Dark Confidant's back in standard.
Yeah, it's going to be in every mid-range deck.
We get to do all these crazy things and whatever. And we kind of saw it in a few kind of trying to be aggro-y black decks. And a couple of the wizard decks tried it for a bit with Kuja and whatever, but then the Kuja decks became nothing. So
not great, yeah.
So
Kuja is the first deck we played on stream for this season, and we murdered everyone with it. I think we were like 6-1 with that deck, and then like it didn't do anything in competitive, and I was almost shocked. That deck surprised me how good it was, and then it did nothing at all.
So. Yeah, I think it's the type of deck though that's once people understood it, it was hard to do what you wanted to do, right? So
true.
That's sort of what this fell into with Dark Confidant. It's just the decks that play it ended up not being great. Like even now, I was just earlier working on a Rakdos aggro-y thing, and I'm just like, nah, I don't really need Dark Confidant.
Yeah. It's like there's an Alesha deck that popped up like twice in MTGO results this season, and it would play some Dark Confidant. And the big one, obviously, is the Mono Black Cecil like aggro deck that plays the 4 of Bob right now. And that deck is fine. It's kind of held on all season. It's still in challenges. It's still in league results. It's doing okay after bans and stuff. So like that's the biggest miss, but it's basically the same argument as Traveling Chocobo. Like it's in one good deck. And basically nothing else, really.
I will say this is something I realized when I was looking at the Rakdos deck of things in 2 mana that can just get me a card without costing me life. Right? There's quite a few, right? Because we were playing the Bronco, which you could saddle and then your opponent loses life, right? Yeah. You had the Rogue that like you can discard a card, draw a card, or make a treasure, whatever. That one was still illegal, right? You have Fear of Missing Out, where you can discard and draw a card, right?
The card's phenomenal, too.
Yeah, you have Brynhilder, which is also a thing, right?
That card's a banger,
Yeah, so just like in the 2 slot, I was literally going, yeah, I just don't need this. I have so many ways to see cards anyway. I don't need to take damage for them, especially since I'm playing some mid-rangey stuff. I'm not trying to empty my hand the whole time, just keep it loaded, right? Like, so.
Yeah, that's the real problem with Bob here is that, like, you know, even a lot of mono black decks want to play Unholy Annex, and you're not going to get hit for like 8 life when you rip the Unholy off the top with Bob. So, and you know, you just kind of tap, you're cashed out at 4 and 5 drops. Like, you just kind of can't play those in a Bob deck. And the Cecil deck benefits from that philosophy, but not a whole lot of other decks.
I think that's a good point, though, right? Like, when you're playing the best cards currently in mono black, that's Shieldred, that's Archfiend, it's the Rooms, it's whatever, right? And those suck to get hit with if you're playing Bob, right? Like,
I'm not taking that shot. Yeah,
that's not good. Now, in the future, where we're losing a couple of those cards, maybe mono black looks different. But for now, probably not.
Yeah. I do think if mono black continues to be built as kind of, especially moving forward after rotation, kind of a very low to the ground aggro deck, then Bob's going to stay great. And Bob is great in that deck. So he's definitely shown up, but again, you know, one trick pony kind of thing, you know?
Yep. I'm going to say that one's probably a B- though. Cause like the deck that it's in is actually solid for the placement of that card. And I don't think that's a bad thing.
You're my friend, so I'll allow it.
Sure.
My next pick is also, I think this is my biggest miss on the whole list. It's TaTa, whatever her job title is. I've just got TaTa written down here. It does say something that I cannot remember her job title, so I don't see her every day, but she's obviously shown up in this case in 2 decks. Now, they're not the most impactful decks in standard. They're both kind of like B tier-ish decks, but the Naya Yuna deck is pretty good. That's a good deck. And then the Gruul Delirium deck is also, it's like the 3rd best aggro deck in standard right now. Maybe. So she shows up as like 2 ofs in both of those decks, sometimes a 3 of. She was just recently in a sort of Relic of Legends Joda pile, but that's about to rotate out, that I saw on MTGO. So she's shown up here and there. I got to give her some credit, but again, I don't think that this deck has had as much success as, say, like Mono Green Landfall or even Mono Black Cecil. It's kind of newer. After bans, I think Naya Yuna is doing pretty well, and this is almost always in it. So this is probably, again, my biggest miss. How do you feel?
It's a tough one, right? Because I was thinking about this as we were going back over the list, you know, just putting them together. And it's almost like a pre and post ban judgment on cards, right? Because pre-bans, it's like, all right, TaTa was solid, but a 4-2 isn't doing much against a lot of things when you need to try to block some little whatever. Yeah. But in a post-ban world, you get a little bit more time, right? And flipping stuff in the graveyard that you want to reanimate, or like you're saying, try to hit Delirium or whatever and just go off. I mean, hell, there's times now because of Brynhilder being on the battlefield, you could literally play TaTa, hit Delirium. If you already have a FOMO out, that's practically lethal.
Yeah. Yep, exactly. It was kind of surprising how aggressive some of the lines were with TaTa, which, you know, I think even in that video I pointed out, like, okay, fear of missing out is probably the best thing you can do with a TaTa. I was just not aware of how good, not just TaTa would be with that card, but how good FOMO would be, especially post bans. FOMO's not everywhere, but it's in like 4 different decks right now, and TaTa works so well with it that they're kind of best friends, go together like peanut butter and ladies, you know? So
yeah.
That's where I gotta say, TaTa's shown up. So if I had to grade myself, I'd probably give myself like a generous C+, you know, unlike some of your, you know, generous again misses. This has shown up in multiple decks, whereas some of yours have been in just like one deck that was only popular really, especially Mono Green Landfall. That's only popular because the bans happened. So again, like pretty solid hit in some ways, but TaTa, she was showing up in Gruul Delirium even before the ban, so I'll take a shot in the mouth on that one.
You know, and I'll say this too. I think TaTa may not even have seen her best days yet.
Oh yeah, I don't think so.
You know, I think there's going to be something in the future that'll take advantage of a loaded graveyard or types in the graveyard or something.
Very interesting that she gets enchantments back when she comes in, and we just saw 2 mono white enchantments for 1 mana that are incredible removal pieces in edge of eternity. Yeah, we saw that thing that's a portable hole but an enchantment, and the thing that's a chain to the rocks. But instead of having to put it on a mountain, you have to put it on an artifact that gives the artifact ward 1. So now TaTa on like turn 4 can mill one of those into your yard, you get it back, and you get a removal spell the same turn you cast TaTa. So there's going to be even better lines with her in the upcoming format that I'm kind of looking forward to. She's not a bad card.
Yeah.
Not at all. Oh, actually, one more. Sorry, there's one more line as far as aggression with TaTa goes. On turn 4, you can also mill over that 1 green mana aura that when it comes into play, the creature it's enchanted to fights target creature, and your creature gets +0, +2, and reach. So that makes TaTa a 4/4 for 4 mana that fights a creature when she comes into play and mills cards. And like that could be, there's just a lot of like good lines with these 1 mana enchantments and Edge of Eternities. So wanted to point that out.
Yeah. The next one we've got is another one that we saw 0 of.
Oh yeah, just massive hit, I think. I think this was, I want to say this was kind of a safe call in some ways.
Totally.
But big hit, massive hit. I don't know why people were freaking out about this card.
I don't either. And I'm going to go look to see if I can remember the actual like price time or graph on this card. But yeah, at the time it was around like at one point an $18 card.
Really?
And I remember thinking like, how, why, what does this card do? And literally you can get this card for like 50 cents or less now, 25 cents in a lot of places, right? It was just like, you read the card and just like, it just doesn't do enough of anything. And it's 5 mana for 3/3. So like, what are like,
yeah. Oh, have we said it's TaTa Great Sage, by the way, I think is, I don't know if we said his name yet, but yeah, TaTa. I have personally ordered 2 copies of this card in paper. I've got the got the normal art one right here. Here's a TaTa right in front of me, and I've got the cool alternate art one in the box over there. So I've ordered copies of this card for commander decks, which is what we said the card would be for. It's a commander card more than anything. But yeah, as far as standard goes, we're talking about 5 mana, dog, for this? Like, no, man.
I mean, you talk about like having your flabbers gasted. Like, I'm like, how is this thing even close to $20?
Yeah.
Like, I for real did not understand, because it doesn't check any proper boxes. It's a low power toughness for 5 mana. Like, it doesn't do anything on its own. It needs you to do other stuff. Like, what? Like, and then you're looking at everything else you can get for 4, 5, and 6 mana in red and blue. It's like, why would I ever want to play this card?
People get real excited about like, you know, oh, I get this effect in the command zone. Like, I'm guilty of that. Like, I ordered and built Black Waltz number 3, and Black Waltz number 3 is just like a fun commander. But once you actually play with them, you're like, okay, there's some issues with this. So like even I get sucked into the like, oh, I get this thing in my command zone. And I think that was like the big problem with TaTa is like, oh, I get like a young pyromancer that can sweep the board in my command zone. It sounds awesome. But like, 5 mana is 5 mana is 5 mana, which is then 7 mana, which is then 9 mana. And it's just like, it's probably more of a 99 card than even it is your commander. But as far as standard goes, like, what is the argument for this card? But especially you see Vivi and then you see this and you're like, why would I ever play this card?
Well, yeah, you know? But I'm just saying, even for a Black Waltz, like if you wanted to experiment or do something crazy, that's going to cost you what, $2?
Yeah, right, exactly. I think I got my Black Waltz like right after the set came out. It was like 25 cents. Right.
There you go.
Yeah, but yeah, I remember TaTa being ungodly expensive at some point, at least $15, and like, there's nah, dog. Like, I will say, TaTa is one of my favorite characters from any Final Fantasy, and like, I think he's got a lot of love in the fan base, and that might be, you know, like Kefka's prices were way astronomically high before the set came out. It's because everyone loves Kefka Palazzo. He's the best villain in the Final Fantasies, and so like people go nuts. Sephiroth, you know, his card still hasn't come down. People love characters in this series, and I think that maybe that's part of what drove TaTa's price. But yeah, TaTa's a cool fella, but he ain't worth what people were pre-sailing him for at all.
Easy A++. We never saw the card. We never will see the card. Like
no.
Yeah,
I might play this in standard brawl on stream one night. I think that's as far as he goes.
Probably.
All right. My next card. I'm going to take a big fat victory lap on this one because I had so many people fighting me. More than any card during this last preview season, I had people fighting me on Buster Sword. Now, I have played against Buster Sword on the arena precisely one time. And by the way, that game kind of, I don't want to sound like a know-it-all goober here or anything, but that game kind of proved everything that I thought was wrong with Buster Sword. Is just like they got it on turn 3 and didn't do anything else. And then they tried to equip it to a guy and I blew the guy away with a go for the throat. It's just like you lose way too much tempo trying to play a sword right now, especially one that's not like literally a sword that gives them protection from something like the old swords. Like this one, they have to get through for combat damage for it to really do anything. It's just like I again, I don't want to sound like a dweeb here, like a jerk, but just like the card never really looked that good. And I had so many people ready to claw my throat out in the comments, just like, nah, dude, nah, this is the one, baby. And it's just like it's done jack poop. There's a cloud deck. There's a blue white cloud deck in standard right now. The card is not in that deck. So it's just like Astrologian's Planisphere.
Yep.
But this card is Nowheresville. Have you seen it out there in the world?
I've played against it probably a handful of times. And there's been multiple times where I'm just like, you know what? I'm just going to let the creature through. Let's see what you got. Yeah, and then they either don't have anything or they play like some 2-power guy that needs some extra equipment or something or whatever. And I'm just like, okay.
Oh my God, the value.
Yeah, because unless they connect and drop like Gilgamesh or something, you don't care.
Yeah, right.
They're just not playing those cards that are scary. So is it extra damage and they get to draw a card? Like, sure, but the value just wasn't there. And most of the time, they don't even get to connect. It's like they play it on a guy and it just sort of sits there because they can't afford to attack, or else you're going to come through and you're going to chump block with like a token or something.
Right. That's always the situation, it seems. It's just like you just chump block the guy and then crack back. Like it gives a big power bonus, whatever, but just like it doesn't actually do as much as it looks like it does. And like having to have something big in your hand to drop off of it is a cost. Like you actually have to have something real. Like you said, like half the time it's probably just some dinky 2-drop, and it's like, that's not that good. I don't know. Everyone was like, dude, no, busted sword. They should have called it busted sword. And it's just, nah, man, this card wasn't ever good.
And I'll tell you, the crazy part still is you have trouble finding that card for under $40.
It's Buster Sword. It's another one of those where it's just like, bro, it's Cloud Sword. I'm going to pay like, I will give you $80 for that. It's just, why? You know what I mean? So, and you can't blame like Final Fantasy booster box prices, because there's a lot of cards in the set now that are dirt cheap. Buster Sword ain't one though. It's still ridiculous. And it might be like good. You set it up in Commander or something, but I still don't think that justifies like a $35, $40 price tag on it.
No.
Oh man.
No, that's a solid A+ for you, because again, it was super hyped and it's shown up literally in one type of deck, and it's not even great in that deck.
Not really. Yeah, man. Like I'm really not the kind of dude that's like, told you so, but like, I've never had as much of a chance to say it, I think, as now. So I'll take my chance. You also had a card that I think you can say told you so on for your last pick here.
Yeah, and it was Jumbo Cactar, because as I learned, it's Cactar, not Cactar like a Minotaur.
I have said Cactar. Whoa, hold on now. I have played every single Final Fantasy save for like 14 and 16. I've been playing Final Fantasy since I literally was 5 years old. It was one of my first video games. I have never heard that in my life. I have never heard that. I thought it was Cactar for the last 40 years almost.
The way I found out is I was trying to search for it in I don't know, maybe Scryfall or something, or on Moxfield. But I was trying to type in Cactar like you spell Minotaur, Taur, right? But it's not. Yeah. It's Tuar.
They are, Cactar.
Yeah, exactly. So it's pronounced Cactar. I didn't know this.
Cactar.
So yeah, there you go.
There's a lesson. Out fact.
But yeah, the thing about the card is everybody went, oh, there's going to be all these crazy combos you could do with it. You'll want to play it in this deck and that deck and find ways to use it in Smuggler's Surprise and do all this stuff with it. And it doesn't work in some decks that people wanted to use it in. And then the deck that it has at least shown up in, which is the Reanimator deck with Arden and whatever, like,
oh, good job remembering his name. I felt like it also said something I couldn't even remember that guy's name. Like, how good is this deck if I haven't remembered his name?
Yeah, and like
that deck. That's the deck it's good in. Yeah,
it's playable in there, but there are a lot of times where you get it and then they just kill it or they just remove it or whatever. But I don't think it's even significantly better than a lot of the other decks. Like a lot of the other Reanimator decks aren't playing Cactar. They're just going, give me the guy with the value. Give me the guy that makes extra tokens. Give me the guy that gives me extra cards. Give me the guy that kills something when it comes on the battlefield, right? Because that's what you need a lot of the times. So
yeah, much better options, man.
Yeah, it's fine in a single deck, right? And now I have seen some others where they try to get quirky and play stuff that gives it haste and some weird brews that try to force it. But there's only one real deck with it, and I don't even think it's integral to that deck, to be honest. So
yeah, like if you're playing Reanimator, I think that if you're doing this, you're kind of doing it for the lulz. Like you're just memeing if you do it. There's better options. But I will say I've only played against this once, and I did so on stream, and it bit us, it got me because they played the guy, they played Arden, and I was like, all right, do your worst, I could probably handle like a Valgavoth or something. But when they got Cactar, like you literally, if you don't have their removal spell, you can't do anything about it. So they got us on that one. And I was happy for my opponent. We were all kind of like, yay, they did the thing, it's nice when it happens. But as you said, there's a bunch of better options for reanimating. If you really want to, if you're going to take that deck up to F&M or something, like there's better options.
And this was another one that at the time, and I just went back to verify because I was pretty sure I remembered it being crazy expensive. They were between $30 and $40.
Yep. When it first came out, it was righteously expensive.
Yeah, now you can pick them up for $4 if you want one.
I'm surprised they're that much. Yeah, even after the set came out and prices started to settle down, this bad boy was still like $10, and I was like, "Come on, man!" But some people hate this meme like so much, but I think it's great. I think it's a fun meme, but haven't actually seen it that many places. So, I would give you like a pretty good score on that one, just because it's in one like kind of arena deck. It's an arena deck. I haven't seen Cactar show up in any like MTGO challenges or anything. So
yeah,
I think you're in the clear on this one.
It's like an A- because I will admit that it's at least decent in that one deck. Right? Like,
yeah.
But for the price at the time, which is why I made my list, is just like there's anything that goes above $30. That needs to be a 3 or 4 of in multiple decks to justify that price.
Yeah.
And that was never going to be that. Like it just wasn't.
Is this even mythic?
I don't even think I think it's a rare.
I think it's a rare too. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's just a rare.
Just a rare. Just what's going on with that? But yeah, I think you're in the clear on that, man. Good pick. It's all together. But if you want to see us talk about some cards we're a little bit more positive about, and probably missed on a few of those too, we're gonna do that over on PowrDragn's channel. We're gonna look at the cards that we thought were underrated from Final Fantasy and kind of do a little review, check back, see how we did on that one. So go over to his channel. It should probably be up around this time if you're watching this thing, and give him some love too. So subscribe while you're over there. He deserves 1 million more subscribers than anyone else on YouTube. He works so hard. So tell them where they can find you if they want to do that.
You can find me over at PowrDragn, PowrDragn, and we have all kinds of content coming down the pipe, literally stuff lined up every day for the next, I don't know how long, forever. So you should just come by and enjoy it.
You should, because you will. You like me, so that probably means you like jank decks and weird brews and stuff. And if you like weird brews, this is your dude, promise. But anyway, y'all, he is PowrDragn. I am Dev. Do all the YouTube stuff on your way out. Hit the button shaped like a thumb. You can sub to the channel. Trying to get to that 150K mark. Not too far away. Help us out with that. But if you really want to help us out, we're only $1 a month. Pretty cheap there, guy. To go over to the Patreon, link in the description. And you can vote on what decks we do here in Edge of Eternity Standard coming up and affect YouTube history itself. Anyway, if you feel like doing that, that's cool. But even if you don't, or you can't, you don't have a whole lot of cash right now, I'm just glad that you're still here. Watch time matters, and I appreciate you guys. But so does he, by the way. I don't mean to speak for him, but I'm sure he does. Anyway, guys. Yeah, man. I'm Deb from the Place for PowrDragn. Thanks for watching, Wizards. Spread love and be kind.